What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome back to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. It's almost like we were just here a few hours ago because we were, and we're back now with our recap for the Browns getting crushed 28-3 by the Ravens, as you can see down in the bottom. All in all, just not a great day. Can chalk it up to a couple of different things, but probably, if you're thinking last week was the complete game, then this is the exact opposite of what last week was, where all facets of the game just kind of went out the window. Can't really blame the defense too much for the points that were allowed, but we'll get into all that. Jeff, obviously, when we were coming on and talking before, we did not know at the time that Deshaun Watson would be out. It was speculated, but probably 5 minutes after we stopped the recording, it was announced Deshaun was out. And DTR got the start, and now he'll be DT done probably for the rest of the season, barring any more injuries.
Oh, that's typical from us, honestly. We plan all this live nonsense. We feel like we have a nice opportunity to have a pregame live stream, and then you get some news as soon as we turn the broadcast off. Let me just start. Justin, we've been doing this. This is our third Brown season, or is it
fourth Brown season?
Okay, it's our. I don't even know. So this is our fourth. Season.
I think we had a kitchen season in there. I'm pretty sure we had.
We might. No, I think we've been here half of 19.
I think we've been here. We've been present for all of Kevin's years, but I think we ended on the kitchen's years.
So let's take the totality of the Cleveland Pulse as a whole. I just want you to think hard for me. If I've ever done this, because I'm going to do it right now, and then, I'm going to slice out, I'm going to have a little carve out. Believe it or not, I am going to give the Browns, Kevin Stefanski, Jim Schwartz, I'm going to give them a pass today. Here's my reasoning. The defense plays the majority of the game, which is, not something we're not used to. I thought it was a little startling. They were getting carved up by RPOs, whatever. We'll talk about that. I truly think that something happened where the game plan all week was for Watson, and then the last minute something happened, which I think that's the biggest storyline of today that people aren't talking about. Who didn't get the full story with Watson? Was it the training staff? Was it Stefanski? Did Watson not even know? Could not even know. Maybe he thought, I'm ready to go, and then he wasn't ready to go. So the game plan was for Watson. You have 90 minutes to change a game plan for a fifth-round rookie. So I'm going to give him a pass. With that being said, you've been back since 1999. This is going to be a little long-winded. You've been back for almost 20 – wait. No, you've been back longer than 20 years. You've been back almost 30 years. Mike Tomlin's owned you. Joe Flacco's owned you. Lamar Jackson's owned you.
Yeah.
When is it going to be enough is enough? When is it going to be these one-off people who always own you regardless of the situation? If you're on the road, if you're at home, if you got the best offensive line, if you got Nick Chubb, if you don't have Nick Chubb, if you have Watson, if you don't have Watson. When is somebody going to say enough is enough? It's embarrassing. I'm sick of watching it year in and year out. I told you this reminded me of week 2. It was worse than week 2. It was much worse than week 2. The offense wasn't even watchable. The defense I felt bad for. The special teams outside of Dustin Hopkins was mid again. And Dustin Hopkins is the only player, probably Myles Garrett, that played good today. Thanks, Hopkins. You cared. So my question is, when is enough for this franchise?
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things that since I've been alive, I haven't seen it, and I don't know when it's going to change. But I don't know what to really chalk it down to, other than in the respect of the Bengals. You talk about the Bengals making it to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, making it to the playoffs and whatnot. We still own them in the regular season, and why is that? Who knows why it is as of right now?
And then they go to the Super Bowl. Who cares?
Exactly. But then it's the same thing with the Ravens and those Steelers for us. It's like they just have our number, and no matter how banged up they are, no matter if it's Kenny Pickett as their quarterback, it does not matter. Those two teams just have something. When they see us on the schedule, they just play out of their minds. And it's so frustrating. But this is the issue, Jeff. And this is, probably where we're going to get into it is this has just been the case for Kevin since he's been here. He's been the butt of the division outside of the Bengals for, I think, a year, maybe, or teams for the last 3. And I know it's one of those things where we talked about last week where it's a very clean game. It's the best looking game that we've seen in a long time, but it's still not anything exceptional. If we're talking and if we're saying that's an A game, an A minus, whatever, offensively, we should be worried, because if that's our A game, we can't get much higher than that. That's worrying,
That's fine, though. 27, 30 points. I mean, come on. With the defense we have, it's not that worrying. Without Chubb, that's not that worrying.
Against a team that we should be beating, though, Joe. Like, that's the thing. I
just think that we came back after last week and we admitted that we scored 27 points, and Watson was pretty much the only Watson and Amari were the 2 people who played really good. We talked last week about how Elijah Moore is not that good. We talked about how offensively. We talked about how Njoku really hasn't shown us anything.
Right.
Elijah Moore's not very good. Goodwin's not in the game plan. Cedric Tillman's not involved. David Bell lost in space. Pierce Strong, Jerome Ford, like Kareem Hunt, guys that are serviceable. They played above expectations last week, and you scored 27. So no, it's not like, okay, the A game, an A game could go for 34 or an A game could go for 27. That is winnable offensive football. That is a top echelon of offensive football in the league. Well, maybe not this year, because you see, Miami puts up 70, then Buffalo puts up 50. The game's always evolving. So you might be right. 28, 30 might not be enough again in some teams, but that's going to be rare. I mean, today was just all downhill, and yeah, they scored 28, but it's like, we give them the first 7. How many did they really score? 21 at the most, maybe less, 17, 20. That's what I'm saying.
It's just startling, though, Jeff, that we've, for 3 years we were complaining about the defense and everything, and the change with the coach there is almost everything that's going on right now with them and how well they're playing. Let me ask you, just and I think there's an easy answer, and I don't really know if it's the right one, but in your opinion, who has Kevin Stefanski in 4 years uplifted in terms of their talent?
Baker Mayfield, Jacoby Brissett,
Brissett was the one I was
Josh Dobbs, all of them, as far as I'm concerned, all the quarterbacks. I mean, Josh Dobbs, how many games you get out of him, but Brissett's played his best football with us. It's kind of to be determined if Baker played his best football with us, but his 2020 season is going to be tough to replicate. Even Tampa, he's off to a good start. Whatever's whatever.
But the quarterback position,
but I just love how Nick Chubb is elite, but it's like, oh, we just and this is true, Nick Chubb's work ethic and his dedication to the game and his humbleness are all factors. But I just love how year in and year out the guy's a stud, and nobody attributes that to Kevin Stefanski. Where's all that talk?
Because he was a stud before Stefanski got here.
He was, but okay, for what, 1 year?
I mean, but that was the year that he had,
But what if he sucked? Then you could have said, Stefanski.
Let me
the
just
O-line, all the O-line's been uplifted. You could say it's Callahan, but he brought Callahan in, if I'm not mistaken. He brings Jim Schwartz in this year. Andrew Berry might have brought him in, but whatever's whatever.
But here's the thing. In terms of Nick, why hasn't he been a rushing leader yet?
But that's not a metric that I care about. Why haven't we had back-to-back 1,000-yard receivers since '99? I don't know, because there's other good elite running backs. I don't think you have to be the rushing leader to be the best running back in the league.
And I agree. But here's what I'm trying to get my point across is I don't know that if you're pointing to Baker and to Brissett, yeah, they played their best football here. But what does that mean in terms of the rest of the NFL, in terms of how they actually, looked? For the longest time, we were complaining that Baker wasn't a top 10 quarterback. All right. Well, then the next year you play with Brissett and he plays well, but he still wasn't playing at a top 10 quarterback level. Now, and we're however many games he played last year, however many games he's in this year, 3 now, we're still not seeing what I would expect out of Deshaun Watson. And what I'm supposed to know is that Kevin Stefanski is an offensive guru. He's been here for 4 years. Our offense should not be the thing that is hindering us in year 4 of his, stint.
I mean, it's just I just don't really know what you want him to do today. That's why I start the top of the show with that he gets a pass. You have no Nick Chubb, you have no Conklin. You have no Watson. You have no Pochitz for half the game. Like today was just pretty much scrapping it up. And yeah, can he make mid-game adjustments? Can he be better? Obviously, but I just think for a lot of head coaches, especially the offensive head coaches, your Shanahan's, your McVays, I would put Stefanski a tier lower than them. Whatever, however you want to see it. But they have guys that they elevate, and that it's like, oh, why can't they figure it out? I think he did a good job with Jarvis Landry. Sure, Jarvis was an established wide receiver, but he got good seasons out of him. I think he did a good job bringing in Kareem Hunt, kind of revitalizing his career and making him a staple of the offense. You could flip the coin. Was OBJ misused and probably, put to disgrace on this roster? Sure, absolutely. But it's not. Here's another thing, though. You have to contrast what Barry does with what Stefanski does. If Barry gives Njoku $50 million and Njoku just sucks, that's not Stefanski's fault that Njoku's not very good. And we'll never get the truth of the story. Who's being used incorrectly? Is Stefanski torching them, or is it the personnel, or is it the coaching? This is our biggest issue here. Watching from 30,000 feet, you're a little bit closer than me at home games, but it's like at the end of the day, you're not in the back room. When did they know Watson wasn't playing? 10:30 today? 10:15 a.m., 10:10 a.m. They showed him in the pregame broadcast. 10:10, he's throwing, he's doing band warm-ups. He's wincing. I don't know what happened, but I don't know how what bothers me and what's always bothered me, and I'll tell you this, is that I just don't get the transparency. Where's the transparency? All week, it's a bruise. Now the broadcast saying, he's got fluid around his rotator cuff. Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, right. Yeah, listen, it's tough. You made a point that he's what, 25 and 24?
He was 25 and 23 headed into today's game. So
yeah, so to that point, yes, he's the best coach that we've seen in the last 2 decades. But I don't know that that's logic that I can live with after this year. I'm willing to give him this year, but I've talked about having the skepticism for longer than that now, and that if things went to hell in a handbasket, we could be talking about firing him earlier. I don't think that's going to happen, but no. This is the repeating thing. And I have another thing that I want to bring up about Kevin since he's been here. You don't beat the coaches that you can or you have to in the division. Tomlinson owns us. Harbaugh owns us. That's 4 games that, do we win against them sometimes? Yes, sometimes we do win against them. Is it majority of the time? No. You're never going to get out of the AFC North through the division. So now you have to do it through the conference. That's fine. As of right now, though, you're 2-2, and that's just fine. But you go back to the last 3 years, he's never finished above 3rd place in the division. And that's just frustrating. It's frustrating to a 9th degree. The other thing is, you talk about trying to build momentum with this team and with the offense. He has not won, and I saw this tweet and I thought it was crazy that since he's been here, he's strung less games together in wins than what he has progressing. So in 2020, he had 4-game win streak. In 2021, he had 3 games. Last year, 2. Now, we'll see, he's got a quarterback, but it seems like other parts of this team that we were boasting about for the 3 years before this was offensive line, top 5 in the league, top 10 in the league, consistently. The running back, top 5 in the league for the entire time he's been here. The wide receiving game has been the question because the quarterback has been the question. Now, the quarterback isn't supposed to be the question. I don't think he is. I think you watch DTR, there are questions there. You watch Watson, it's very clear, much better. He's got a lot more going for him. But the receiving game has always been such a debacle, even with a Jarvis Landry. Why wasn't he a multiple 1,000-yard receiver here when he was here with Hugh, when he was here with Freddie, when he was here with Kevin? It does. I don't know. And for that fact, Jarvis isn't a burner, but still, he got a ton of receptions. I'm just trying to find with Kevin offensively, who is he going to make better? I mean, Amari Cooper's Amari Cooper. I don't think he was not doing these things in Dallas. I just think Dallas went and got more weapons and said, let's just see what we can get for him. And I don't know. It's just incredibly frustrating that, I would love to have a 3-game win streak again, so we could be on here every week or for 3 weeks at least. But this back and forth feels like it's getting more and more repetitive, and that's where it's like getting to me at least.
It's so bothersome how the NFL just is, because I'm sure this is just the expectation of any NFL fan. Throw the Browns out of the equation. Just anybody who follows any team, you look so good one week and it's like, what the hell happened between 7 days before the next game turned around? And I think that it's October 1st. You're 4 weeks into the year. And I still think the going consensus is that not 9 wins gets you into the playoffs. 10 wins definitely gets you into the playoffs. And then you see what happens from there. So it's like, okay, are we, 20% or more to our goal? Sure. But is that really how you want to look at it from a week to week basis, especially when you basically threw the game away in Pittsburgh? Like, it's just one of those things where, you can't. I would just like to show competence in every game, and we've played 4 games and we've only shown extreme competence in 2 games. The other 2 today, just an absolute nightmare, kind of all around. The defense, like I said, I think everyone's going to get a pass today from my perspective, because just too many extenuating factors, however you want to slice it up. The Steeler game, yeah, I mean, that's a clear failure. You should have won that game on the road. And I will be the first one to tell you, after saying that 9 or 10 wins is going to get you into the playoffs, because I could already hear the other talking heads on this platform, YouTube, and over on our favorite platform, X, that they're going to tell you, oh, we're fine. This is fine. And while I'm still giving people a pass, you haven't heard me say that it's fine. It's fine yet, because here's the thing. You're already 1-2 in the division. You already have 2 AFC losses. It is certainly not fine. You're at an uphill battle yet again for the last 20 years, 25 years, uphill battle to win the division. You got 2 divisional losses. You can still go 4-2. We'll look back. Oh, that Steelers game was funny. That Ravens game was a little weird. Yeah. But winning, the only thing that cures this nonsense is winning.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and to that point, those are the games. Honestly, I wish I could give a pass for this game because of, I'm giving the entire defense the pass. That's my pass for the game, is the defense. I know what it's like for the 4th game of the year. Of course, that's the hottest game that's at Brown Stadium. And of course, the Ravens are just keeping our defense out on the field the entire time, something they haven't had to do in the 3 weeks that they've been historic. So, we're still, and again, we talked about it. We said this was going to be the game where we say 16-14, some low-scoring game, and then, the opposing offense scores 28 because of turnovers and whatnot as well. But I still saw a lot of tenacity from that defense, which is just so crazy, even going into the 4th quarter. But it's tough. I think looking at the schedule, obviously, the big reason why this stings a lot is just because you're looking at your next opponent and you're like, that's a fucking team right there. That's right. You look at the Ravens and you're like, they were banged up for this game. There should have been a chance. All right, that happens. You look at the Steelers and you're like, all right, well, we should have won that game. We had some bad turnovers, which are fixable and whatnot, and we could have beat that team. Those are what you're saying for those games. Now, this is where, when we come back and we, if Watson plays and he's healthy and everything, this is going to be one of those games where either Kevin can absolutely whip me and say, yeah, I can prove you wrong here with a great game beating San Francisco, or it can be one of those games where, a couple years ago, you look at New England and they just thrash us from the very beginning, and it never looks like we have a chance,
Well, your issue in 2 weeks is that you're coming off the bye. So if you lose off the bye, everyone's pulling their hair out. Number one, and number 2, you're clearly the lackluster coach in this matchup. Watson, I don't think, even with the early struggles, I don't think many good football minds are saying that Brock Purdy is a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson. I will lean to give us the quarterback edge there. But Shanahan's definitely a better head coach. Sure, the rosters, whatever. But Shanahan's is definitely a better head coach than Stefanski. I mean, you've seen it last week. Watson's better than Tannehill. Stefanski outcoaches Vrabel, blowout. This week, DTR never has a chance in a matchup with Lamar Jackson. Harbaugh runs circles around us. And Todd Monken, who is this for? I'm not, I thought this dude was out of the league. He's got Lamar Jackson playing the best football of his career, in my personal opinion. First career game for Lamar. And this is crazy up against our defense. This is where I kind of like don't want to give the defense a pass, but I will give him a pass. First career Lamar Jackson game. 2 throwing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. Wow. First career ever against the Jim Schwartz front, which is pretty formidable, pretty impressive, all right, cool. But however, like I said, next, you're off the bye. Stefanski's such a sharp. Well, I better see some good offensive play calls and not a lot of nonsense. Everybody gets healthy. You see Miles in the walking boot. Zadarius Smith was banged up. Jerome Ford didn't look too good. You get a lot. I don't understand how you have so many injuries. I guess just as modern day NFL. You're only in week 4, fellas. You still got 12 weeks left.
That I think a lot of that was soft tissue stuff. I feel like a lot of these guys were just so dehydrated, and I was like watching them, and I'm just like, most of the time they're going down. I'm like, yeah, that's a cramp. Yeah, they don't look like they're.
Taki left with cramps, didn't come back.
Yeah, but in terms of what I'm looking at, it's just like your schedule. It's it was something that we were talking about for a long time there about the hope was coming out 3-1. But I think me and you both said in earlier videos before the season ever began, 2-2, you're not losing your mind. We're not losing our minds. But
no. Well, turns out we're losing our mind.
A little bit. But the caveat to that is, we talked about we don't want to drop the divisional games, but unfortunately that's where we're at. And losing to San Francisco would it not be a great thing? Yeah, of course not. But you take the idea of, hey, it's the NFC. You took your time to get healthy and whatnot. Your schedule gets easier. It gets easier for a little bit for 3 games. There's 3 games you should be able to string together, and then you get back right into the division. And hey, that's just there.
I think your only bright spot is that you're literally the only bright spot is that we've played these divisional games and then you play but it's just so annoying. Back to back. Okay, you're at Baltimore, then you're home against Pittsburgh.
Well, you're going to know your position after, in week, what is that, 10? By week 10, what your destiny is in the division.
But you have 2, 4, 6. Your last 7 games, you only have 1 divisional game. A lot of previous schedules with the NFL, you're playing 3 to 4 divisional games in your last 5 to 7 weeks, and that's not the case this year. The only bright spot is that you've got these games out of the way. The 49ers, obviously, they're going to be formidable, but then you have these teams that are on the road in Seattle, that's going to be a nightmare, I think. Not that we can't win that game, but you're playing the Colts on the road. It's just tough to win on the road. The Cardinals don't look like as bad as everyone said they would now. Maybe by that time they'll be in tank mode, and then you play Baltimore on the road. Essentially, good luck unless Lamar is not healthy, and who knows what our injury standpoint looks at. And then you got the Steelers at home. It's another game against Tomlin. So at the end of the day, it's like, sure, is the schedule lightly easing up? I would think so, just because of coaching and quarterback matchups. Do you have an edge against Anthony Richardson? I don't even know the Colts head coach. Absolutely. Geno Smith, I think Watson's probably a little bit better. I think Pete Carroll's probably a better head coach than Stefanski, but that's, whatever. And then Arizona, Josh Dobbs, you hope that Watson can outplay him. And another team, I don't even know their head coach because I'm a casual. So, 3 games in a row that you got some opportunities.
We're going to have to talk about that Josh Dobbs trade, but I just I don't even really want to get into it just because like Jeff said, even if Dobbs was here, I think we would have played better, but I don't know that we'd play, the play calling would be different, which again is a lot of my issue, but and that's the other thing, Jeff, you think coming out of the bye week, there will be a lot of change in the offense or no?
If Watson's healthy, no.
I'm just wondering, when we're just going
to unless
Elijah down the field.
Okay, so here's my thing. Here is my thing. Well, he's lost. I mean,
lost.
Honestly, I'm so sad. I'm every year since we've started this talking about our longevity, we've receded from the draft. We've receded from training camp. This is a personalized guarantee. October 1st, I will not be watching. I will not be on X. I will not be doing any coverage of training camp for the Browns in the 2023, 2020, or 2024's 2025 season, because that's a load of BS.
Yeah,
I'm so sick of it. Oh, DPJ looks so good. Oh, Elijah Moore looks so good. Frauds thus far. Prove me wrong. But here's what I want people
to
to
David and Njoku connection too.
Oh God, connection with the fireplace. So here's my thing that I think that we really need to watch out for going into the bye week is, and I don't know who's available. I have to do some research. I might get a full-length video out on it if you want to help me.
Absolutely.
I think that if somebody is available, disgruntled, free agent, etc., I think you look for a running back. I just think you do. I it's just something in my brain is saying
no Jonathan Taylor.
It's not going to be Taylor. Yeah. It's not going to be Taylor, but
my dad keeps saying, shout out to John real quickly. He keeps banging the table on Leonard Fournette being the closest thing to a Nick Chubb runner than what we've gotten so far.
Like you have another week. I don't know. Some of these backfields are like a little muddled, but like some of these backfields I feel like have at least 2 running backs who are better than us. Like Miami, I feel like Mostert and Ashane are both better than what we have. I felt like if you lined up Mostert, he would be better than Jerome Ford right now.
When did the Ravens dump Dobbins to Arizona?
Dobbins?
Yeah.
He's on Baltimore. He's hurt.
Someone was telling me that Dobbins was playing for Arizona.
He has an Achilles injury. Dobbs? You talking about Dobbs?
Maybe they were saying Dobbs. Someone was saying that
James
Dobbins
Conner
is running hard, though. I was like, what?
He's out for the year. Achilles.
That's the thing. That's the other part about going to Browns games. People just say things, and I'm like, all right, I don't know if I should take it at face value or if I should turn around and see the 80-year-old looking at their phone.
But let's say Arizona's total tank mode. Like you're telling me James Conner wouldn't be a better back than Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt? I don't know. I don't know if it's. I'm not saying that's a high probability.
Kareem can't even get it going though.
Dude, but what was he doing all off season, bro? They called him up week 3, said hello. Oh, he lost 10 pounds. Thanks, Mary Kay.
I don't know. There's a lot that's going wrong as of right now, and I think the bye week coming in at 5 right now is looking good because offensively, I think the play calling needs to change. Deshaun's hurt, and a lot of our guys are banged up now, and they need to figure out. All right. Are they going to, like you said, are they just going to run Ford like they run Chubb, or are they going to continue to do all these weird sets and do all the jet sweeps and everything? If not, just put Kareem and Ford in the backfield together. Why are we doing 5 wideouts with a quarterback who is a rookie? We didn't even do that with Watson all that much in the first 3 weeks. It's just sometimes we go from clean, crisp play calling and, a player maybe making a dumb decision, Elijah Moore. But I don't know. It feels like week to week, the play calling is just so different. And sometimes it's good. And then sometimes it's train wreck. And, again, here's the thing. Week 2, what was your issue? Turnovers. Week 4, what was your issue? Turnovers. And, you lose those games, rightfully so. But I think a lot of that is also on we need to clean things up on our end offensively. And that's just fair to say. The O-line looks bad now. I can see it. And it's tough to say because you like I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, you talk about Pochich, you talk about Teller, they're taking steps back now. But why? Why are they taking steps back for whatever reason? You still have Antonio. You have a rookie playing right tackle, playing his ass off, and then you have a guy who should be unemployed at left tackle. I don't know how you don't hold the guy to the same standard you held your kicker to. You have guys on the roster. There are, and I was getting into it with people who are just saying things, who just don't want to even, put anything up there outside of just saying what's wrong. But you cannot tell me anyone with a pulse that weighs 270 or 280 pounds cannot do a better job than Jed Wills, because all you have to do is give effort. Honestly, if the offense kept track of loafs like defense did, Jed Wills would be running countless gassers.
Well, I mean, the biggest point you said is I can't believe, you cut the kicker and, the left tackle could lose you games too. I mean, but, he kind of lost you. He kind of didn't help you, win week 2. He helped you lose more than he helped you win,
Dude,
obviously.
So bad for DTR. The dude was fucking running for his life. And
that's what I'm just saying, though. Like, I just felt like the whole offense was just done. It was just cooked from the get-go.
The thing about DTR, here's going to be my only comments about DTR. Did he get thrown in too early? Who knows? But that dude tried his hardest to keep plays alive.
Yeah.
And I think he shortened his life expectancy by at least a couple of years. He got rushed a couple of times, but it's because I watched the left side of the line just let the guys blow by him.
Dude, I'm in the third quarter and I'm rooting for him to throw the ball out of bounds. He throws the ball out of bounds on one play. I'm like, nice. God. I'm like development right in front of our eyes. Right. But besides that, dude, every play extended was a turnover.
I've never seen, and I want to scream about, air yards in the last 3 weeks. Anytime this dude threw the ball over 15 yards, it was getting tipped, batted, or landing in front of 4 different. We were so lucky. There were multiple times that the ball landed in front of Ravens players, multiple Ravens players that didn't end up
or hit him right in the hands. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse.
It definitely could have been worse. Dude thought he was still at UCLA, and honestly, this is not even a positive. But I'll give him a shard of credit that he at least tried to fire tight windows. He was definitely not skittish out there, but I felt like sometimes he's dropping the back in the pocket. I'm like, he's flopping around there like a fish.
Dude, all those
just
deep
get
balls
rid of the ball.
Awful. I mean, I don't know if dude can throw the ball 30 yards without.
It wasn't even good view. I just asked for a good viewing experience every week. And every loss with Kevin, I will give this to you, it's just a bad viewing experience. The Steelers game on their live, terrible. This week, terrible as well.
I just and here's the thing, you can't let Browns fans have that because they're awful. Yeah, the game doesn't even start and they're chanting DTR. And listen, I've been hard on Watson. I think that's fair enough to say.
We want people to do well. It's like, but
I don't want DTR. Do you know what that means? If DTR is supposedly better and somehow your people's mind, you thought DTR, because he was lighting it up in the preseason, was going to come out and do great things against John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh, whichever Harbaugh it is, it doesn't matter. He's a 5th-round rookie, and he looked exactly like a 5th-round rookie in the regular season against a division rival. Yep. And I don't want us to take the clipboard things anymore. It was good that you did it against Jamar Chase. Please just
do it against them. Do it against them.
Talk about Jamar Chase being open all the time against the Browns. It doesn't matter. He's covered by Denzel Ward. We own him. It does not matter. But God Almighty, just
that wasn't even bulletin board material. If you actually watch that clip, that was just a generic blank statement. He would have said that about any team they're playing on the road. And people up here, bulletin board material. We don't even have a bulletin board.
Thank you for giving this to us. It's gonna make us play so. No. Have you ever seen Kevin get these guys riled up before a game? It only happens after, if we've won the game. That dude, Tomlinson, he comes out after a game.
Tomlin.
All over the place.
LaDainian, Dalvin, it's been a shit show today.
I'm losing it. Tomlin comes out and he's like, are there going to be changes? Fuck yeah, there are going to be changes. Kevin, the calmest guy when we lose. But when we win a game, he's all fired up. The dude is...
Dude's like this at the podium every time. Well, we just didn't really think that Deshaun was ready to go. Why does he hold the podium like that?
As long as he doesn't repeat himself, he's fine, because you can't get any worse than, we're gonna have to go and check the film. We're
gonna work on it during. We got 2 weeks, guys, to work on it during the bye. We just didn't really think Watson was ready. It goes like this. We get it. You hit tries. We get it.
All right, John. Well, that's enough of the Browns. Unless you've got any more else that you want to get off your chest before we
sweating.
Get on to the next, because if you guys have made it all the way to the end here, we are going to go on and get on with our buddy Logan. We're going to record some Cavs stuff and get in a better frame of mind for, a different team in Cleveland that's about to get ready to get rolling this month and all that. But all that being said, if you guys made it to the end, please subscribe. Please make sure you're hitting the bell notification for when we have these uploads to the lives, all of it. Comments are appreciated. Likes are appreciated. And yeah, with that all being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.